Hello everyone, this is Eurico Costa and I'm here to present my dynamic project. My dynamic project is a site called Missing Person Finder. It can be found in my domain sotheory.com, CIT Dynamic Project, right there. So this is the main page of the website. Basically, this will be a website that would be used as a part of a natural disaster. People will be able to come here and select one of the existing events, and that will be added by an administrator of the application, which I have already added a few. So by selecting an event, following the instructions, you will be able to see the information that would be available here. So this was an event that happened in 2015 in Chile, and the city affected was Santiago. You would click here, go to the database, and you would get this page where you would get the list of people that are already reported in the database as people that are missing. They would have a description of the event, and then you'd have a search functionality which would allow you to search for someone if the list was too long. I'm going to do just a quick search here for everyone that has starts with Joe in the database. I will click search here, and as you can see, it returned 3 records. So João Pereira, Josiah Saunders, and Jonah Hill. If by any chance the person would not be found in the list after you search, you could click add person, and you'd be able to create a new record. And in this record, you could create a new person. Let's say Baggins, Bilbo. Bilbo, he would be a male. He was 111, as far as I remember. He would be a short person with large and hairy feet. Sorry. Birth date. Let's just pick something here. It could be. Actually, the Lord Ring says his name, but I really cannot remember. So this would be maybe. I'm not going to do the math. I'm just going to put something here. Street address would be Hilltop. Neighborhood would be the Shire. City would be the Shire as well. The state would be Middle Earth. And the country, we'll say New Zealand. Okay. Mandatory fields are the ones that are in the darker shade on the box. So this would have been found by me. Email and phone number 555 something, and I will do add person. Okay. So now, if you look at the list for this event, the Chile earthquake, we have Bilbo Baggins that was added to the list. Okay. Now, if we would like to make a change, we could always go to click on Baggins. You would get this form, which says, which is just a read-only form for the person, for the record that we added. We click update, and we could say that the alternate name is actually the Dragon Slayer, and he was also a burglar. Right? And maybe his age is actually 115 and not 111. And then we could save the person, and we could see the record that was changed. Actually, what the application is doing is it's saving the record to the database and then retrieving it immediately, so which shows the changes. Okay, so now I could basically go back to my event, and let's say that there's a user here that I really, we found him. He's not part of So we don't want to hear anymore, so we can just click on the person and we do delete person, and it takes us back to the event view, and the person is now gone. Okay, so this is the application. Very simple application, but it implements the all the you know, the CRUD methods for the application that are required in the PHP application, and all those items. One other thing I wanted to demonstrate, so if I enter a value here, let's say the age, for example, if I instead enter some characters here and I do save, it will validate that it's incorrect data, that the fields need to be checked. We'll go back, and so it didn't update anything. So we could easily just correct this and change it, and now it should update without a problem. So let's look at the database. The database basically has the main tables are the list of values table, the events, and the person table. The event table has all the records for the events. So it has the data regarding the event, and as you can see here, it keeps, for example, a country code and not actually the country name. The country name is actually stored in the list of values table right here. And if you look at it, we have a table that basically has a list of value ID, the list of value type, the description, and the actual code, if it's active or not. There's a custom function that I created that actually, based on the type, LOV type, and the country code, it returns the description, and that's the information that it's actually shown here in the list when the information is displayed. Okay, the person table basically has so it stores all the information regarding a person as it comes in. Okay, that's very simple data model. Let's look at the application itself. Okay, so the application implements the MVC pattern. It includes, so the basic view starts with the index PHP controller, which basically includes all the controllers and the models that it needs to do its work. Basically picks up an action, and based on the action through a switch case control structure, it basically decides if it's going to do show the main page, display the event list, or just implement the search person's functionality. Okay, so the main page, it's actually, if we look at here, so show the main page, it includes the view main.php, which is this page here, which is basically the main page. So it's only the view components. It has just the code to actually show the data that is needed. And as I mentioned, the translate_LOV basically picks up the LOV type, the actual event, the country code, and then it displays the country. This function here, for example, it's stored in the model, which in this case is the translate LOV. It's in the list of values model, which basically has two methods. So the get LOV, which basically gets the list to compose the select statement, the select box, and also it has the translate function, which basically goes to the database, does a select query, and returns the LOV description, which actually in this case would be a country name. So the model, as we can see here, the database connection creates a PDO, and that is used globally in the application. The event model, which has a method to get all active events, get an event by ID, and add a new event to the application. list of values that just shown that, and person DB, which has all the events, all the CRUD methods to so add, so retrieve a single person by ID, or in this case, get the missing persons that are attached to a given event, get the excuse me, get a single person by ID, the method that implements the search functionality, which basically it composes the search, the select query by retrieving the terms list in the search box. It exposes it into an array and then uses a for each loop to actually create the rest of the SQL statement that will search the database and retrieve the search results. Then we have the add person, which basically adds and inserts a new person to the database, and the save person, which updates a person to the database, and also a method to delete a person based on the person ID. Okay. The view for the missing person, so all the screens related to the person, which is the add person, the index, which is a controller, and update person and view person, are contained in its own folder that have the specific views for this part of the functionality. Index basically is the controller that handles the interactions and the flow of code for all the processes related to the user, to the person. So in this case, it's also a switch control structure. We have case display person, so it will display the person detail, and update person, save person, and the creation of a new person. Okay, this is the creation of the new person. Basically adds an empty form ready to enter data. When the data is retrieved from the forms, as we can see here, I'm using the filter. So I'm validating the inputs. In the cases where age, which is supposed to be an integer, it validates if it is an integer. And in the description, I'm also preparing and sanitizing the string to be saved in the database, so we avoid issues with the SQL injection and situations like that. And then the input is validated, and if everything is fine, it's going to call the save method and insert it into the database, or in this case, update it, or it's going to show an error, so the person can go back and correct the problem. And that's pretty much the code for the controller. What else? So as can be seen, I've also validated the HTML and the CSS. It's free of errors, and it implements all the requirements for the dynamic project, which is the code implements the MVC pattern. The code is contained, the database interactions are contained within the models. It uses the controllers to control the flow of the application and the navigation in the application. The inputs and outputs are validated both on the front end and the back end. For the front end, for example, there are a few fields that are mandatory. If we try to add a new person and we don't fill in the mandatory fields, it will, which are the fields that are in black border, it will let you know that the field needs to be filled in. And I think that's pretty much it in terms of my dynamic project. We'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have, and email me. But I hope you liked it. I hope it covers everything that it's supposed to cover in the application. One additional thing is that the application, so the look and feel of the application, it's basically set by these CSS3 style sheets. So the NPF, it's the main style sheet for the application, basically covers all the major, the more standard elements. The menu handles the menu bar, the nav icon. So that's the part of the, just one of the resources in the application, and normalize is just for compatibility purposes. But that's pretty much it. Thank you so much.